This is the sound of the Killa beatbox body part sample pack. Over 120 loops, samples, and one-shots for your music production. Exclusively on Splice.
Killa Sweet 16 streaming across all music platforms now. Featuring 16s from Tina Kamau, Orifice Volgatron, Foreign Beggars, Marga, Bob Villain, Illerman, and Trigger. The sounds of Killa Sweet 16s streaming now.
AG Dentistry. In my line of work, not only does what I do with the mouth get reviewed, it's also my instrument. And it's beyond important to me that my teeth get the professional service they deserve. The AG family provide expert dentistry, whether it's NHS or cosmetic. They're the finest in London. Head over to agdentistry.co.uk for more information on treatments and prices. AG Dentistry.
Killa podcast. KillaOfficial.com.
Beatbox created.
Killa.
And we're here to talk about world music and street culture.
Killa podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Killa podcast reporting to you live, central London, or as central as we need to be. This is the creative starburst, the designer, the icon, the brand, the walking art piece.
Not today, it's my day off.
Daniel Lismore inside the place. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good.
Nice to see you.
Trying to keep out of trouble, trying.
Trying? No, never try.
It's because the sun's out, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm not used to the sun. I've been away in Reykjavik.
Reykjavik. You're very well travelled in these recent times. I'm seeing so much activity.
My home is London, and it will forever be my home. But I like to see the world. Yeah. There's a lot to see.
Yeah.
You know, we're very small-minded in Britain.
Yeah.
We're very little Britain, like, you know, a lot of people, and they just, I don't know, I keep meeting people like, really? Like, yeah, the world is that big, you know. It's very small, but it's also huge.
Yeah, I think we're constantly proving our durability by getting on a plane and doing what we do as art.
Yeah.
And pushing ourselves. I mean, and we can prove that the world isn't flat neither.
Yeah. Although there's been some more conspiracies recently, I think that the world is flat, but I obviously don't think it is. I'm not mad. I'm not a Donald Trump supporter.
No. Reykjavik is conclusive proof that the world is not only diverse and dynamic, but it's round.
Yes. You know? Yeah.
I actually took that trip when I was coming back from LA. I had to do a stopover in Reykjavik. Mm-hmm. Now, initially, when I got the flight, it was like cheap as chips one. Okay, I'll stomach the change, cut the long haul by halves. I actually didn't mind that. And when I got to Iceland,
it's amazing.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah,
I was there for 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah, I did a show there I did it in Harpa, which is their big glass building, and I was there for another month, just there, like just to see everything. And it was quite amazing.
Quite amazing, isn't it? Fresh.
Yeah. It's kind of like very bipolar Iceland. It depends when you go, in the summer or the winter. And it's kind of, the people are really interesting as well. They're either really like out there or really kind of, Christmas time spirit. And they get creative in the winter. And all their ideas kind of happen in the summer. Nice. Which is fascinating.
Absolutely.
And they go completely bananas. And when you walk up the streets of Reykjavik at 2 or 3 in the morning, when it's totally light in the summer, it's just like Vikings everywhere, kind of drinking, and it's like zombie Vikingville, but it's brilliant, and everyone's so nice, and they're not rowdy like us, Brits.
Hey, listen,
Brits abroad,
100%, and that is where there is a massive shift in my mind of like, okay, we need to fix up over here, because the personalities of other countries, they're so much more forgiving and happy and vibrant, and there's no shutter down, there's no conservativeness. It just feels like people are happier.
Yeah. I felt that I think I'm quite an open person, but when I was there, they're like, you need to open up more, and I'm like, oh my God, like these people are on another level, like us Brits are very kind of, or I don't know, it's just strange.
It's strange, isn't it? Do you feel like actually that leads me on to a thought, because you have a very distinctive persona when you're dressed with full regalia, right? Do you think they're in a very Sasha Fierce kind of way? Do you think you adopt a demeanour that maybe that's what they was talking about? Maybe
Who's
there's
Sasha Fierce? No, I'm joking. I don't know Sasha Fierce. I think I met her once.
It's Beyonce's alter ego when she goes on stage.
I know. It's not an alter ego. Like this is, I might say it's my day off today, but I had something to do this morning, which I never have to do usually, which was interesting, and I thought I'd go with it. Kind of hardly any makeup on, just a bit, and yeah, it's weird because when I look like this, there's a different dynamic of how people respond to me. And then when I look like how I look, you might look at my Instagram and go, okay, what is that? You know, have a look at Instagram, you'll see, and you'll get this conversation.
You'll love it. You'll love it, gang.
And it's, I'll walk into a room and the whole dynamic will change. Literally everything will change. People will respond. People will turn around and go, oh my God, that freak. Oh my God, that's amazing. Oh my God, I've never seen anything like that. Oh my God, I want to kill it. Oh my God, is it a man or a woman? Oh my God. Like, what do we say? How do we address it? Like, do we put it on a private jet or do we send it? Are we going to stab it? That's the kind of mentality of people.
Can you see in their eyes? You can
feel
Wow.
And sometimes like people are like, do we want to go home with it? And I'm like, I'm not sure, but I'm still the same person. That's the thing. Like, when Sasha Fierce, she just turns into like, she's amazing, but I'm still the same person. I'm still the same mentality, still the same mind, no change of anything.
I really respect it. And I had a conversation podcast with Jaguar Skills. Have you heard this guy? He's like ninja kind of DJ, Radio 1 dude. And he came around and he said something very similarly, that people's whole attitude to him when he wears the mask is one of like threatening. They're either threatened or they're curious. Mm-hmm. And there's not really much middle because the whole room just changes.
Yeah. It's weird because for me, in a way, it's armor. What I do is I wear armor. I'm going out to fight a war with the world for some reason, for some just cause. Like what I do, I'm able to change situations. Like I can bring Lady Gaga to Julian Assange and help him, or I can help a charity in Kenya, or I can save the rainforest by dressing up and raising money and turning up to the House of Parliament or House of Lords and saying we need to address this. Like this, it's kind of like superheroism.
That's
but
awesome.
in reality. But it's just a license for me to do anything, and it brings me to the most extraordinary places. And it's a great communication tool. It's a great way of
subject starter.
It is, yeah. And it's you should try it. You can do anything when you dressing up is so powerful. And on the other side, I'm thinking it's so like crazy, like that it is so powerful, and it's you kind of understand the psychology of it. And over the years, you kind of I've understood how people are, and it's a learning. I'm constantly amused by people. So people go, "You're the show," and I'm like, "You're wrong. You're the show. Like I'm the audience. I'm sitting back. You can't see me. You usually can just see my eyeballs. Everything else is covered."
You
makeup
have the whole
or fabric
thing as well. Sometimes it's like
literally everything. You can see my eyeballs, and that's the only part of me you can see. And you are the show because of what you're doing. Like it's so crazy. Like how someone will respond to someone in a bunny rabbit outfit, or if it's pink or if it's blue.
2018. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's still kind of like that.
Yeah. It's interesting. But then if you look at it, this childish side comes out, because I think a lot of people were brought up with cartoons and like these sort of ideas and
banter. Yeah,
I see that coming out of people sometimes not, and then. I don't know. That's it.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. What's the? This might be a stereotypical question, but what's the most out there place you've been outside of Reykjavik? The Huba Yubi kind of villages, and you've rocked through like Hurricane Lismore. You know what I mean?
Dubai, the desert. That was quite amazing. I was out there with a friend, and we couldn't be told off. So I dressed up and we're taking these amazing photos, and like these cars were coming by, and I'm just like,
Hiya.
Or actually, the village I'm from, it's called Forlongley. The last time anyone ever mentioned it was the Doomsday Books.
Wow, right?
It was weird. I took CNN Style there to film where I grew up in an outfit, and then over the bridge, my friend's dad was like, "Hello, Daniel," and my mum was like, "How did you recognise? Well, it's Daniel, isn't it?" You know, like. But then walking through the village, like cars were just like slowing down, like going. You know, it was like,
and you're like, "This is my hood." Well, you started.
I'm from here. You're new. You know. Like,
yeah.
So I don't know. I travelled Atlanta. They said I was told not to go in certain areas, and I was like, I'm going to these areas, and I'm going to walk through them.
Good for you. Yeah.
And I'm going to see this, and I'm going to, and they're like, don't go to that part of town, or don't go to this, and I'm like, why the hell not? Don't go to this club, and I'm like, that's where I'm going, and I'm going to wear a huge, big dome around me, and I'm going to wear everything, and then people were blowing smoke in my bowl, like kind of. It was amazing.
That's amazing.
Best time ever. So when people say don't go there, I'm like, that's a place I want to go. Also in Kenya, it wasn't kind of like. I lived in Kenya very briefly with the Maasai, and I worked with the charity as a photographer. But also I was kind of helping with like aid work and whatever, and just I was there, and that was interesting because I stopped wearing my clothes and started wearing their clothes, and it was walking around and people were like, they got it. It was really cool.
That's really cool.
So
you're adding, what you're doing is you're adding, and I see this in a lot of people, but you particularly, especially your mission brief, like you say, you really are part of the London tapestry. You've been given quite a lot of acclaim for your work, like Tate. Was it Tate Modern you've collaborated with?
Well, my first art show was at the Tate
That's
Modern.
it, yeah.
Second one was the Tate Britain, and then they made me the circuit ambassador at the Tate generally over the whole country, which more or less means that the circuit program is to bring young people from around the country who don't have access to art or the art world or art museums or whatever. It brings them from underprivileged backgrounds and puts them in the galleries, and then they start curating late at Tate and things like that. So
that's amazing.
That was really amazing for me to be able to kind of talk to these kids and kind of help them and spend the day with them here and do these projects with them. So it was kind of an interesting thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's so important that young people. So this is another thing. I didn't see art galleries when I was young.
Yeah, neither did I.
I was in a small village outside Coventry.
Yeah.
The only thing that I knew of culturally was Lady Godiva and the Specials,
and
that was it really. Yeah. There was but that's it. And there was the museum there was so terrible when I actually moved away. One of the reasons was there was no culture in Coventry, and now it's the capital of culture.
Ain't that the way?
Yeah, 2021. So I put my exhibition up forward to see, but it's weird. Like in your hometown, you can go abroad and be successful, but in your hometown, it's kind of really strange. So many artists that I know, where they're from, they go, oh, that's that person. That's, this weird mental. Very similar in Reykjavik with the Queen, with Björk. Like, it's like, oh, it's Björk.
It's just a given.
I'm like, hello, she's one of the greatest art curators in the world of our time.
Hell yeah.
And musicians and artists as well.
Just the whole ensemble.
Yeah.
I can see you being a Björk fan.
Yeah,
I can see
and when I leave London, I'm successful. When I come back, it's like, oh, Daniel's here.
Yeah, isn't it the way?
It's strange.
I come from a small village as well. I think there's an over familiarity sometimes, isn't there? And with that breeds contempt, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yeah. It actually does.
Yeah, genuinely. Do you find that with England? Obviously, with you as a whole, because people expect a certain thing from you? Do you think there is a hump where you're just like, oh, you know what? I think I've outstayed this. Do you ever get that feeling?
No. Well, with London, I won't ever do that because I can disappear here. I can do anything. If I'm ever get broke, I can go out and I can get a private jet, but I can't afford an Uber. I can go to Claridge's, but I can't afford a McDonald's. That's how London is to me. And I'm very lucky.
It's true, man.
It's kind of mad. So I'll always stay in London. It's just my home, and you know, if I'm fed up with the people in Mayfair or the gays in Soho or, you know, the fashion scene, I can go to the art scene, or I can go and hang out with the Hare Krishnas, or I can be the bag ladies, or I can jump in a car with like a friend that doesn't know any of my other friends. And so London's this kind of place that I can, I've got freedom. And that's what I mean, there's not much freedom left in London because it's so expensive and the house prices and
Scarily so,
you know, Soho's dying a death because of, you know, corporate idiots who come in and think they're going to make it cool, but it's like who wants another corporate coffee shop? Like, it's so I mean, I just went to one, it was revolting.
Yeah, I know.
And all these brands, like people buy into brands, it's so crazy. I'm like, you're buying into this pathetic idea that someone's made to make money from you. It's a brand. What does that mean to you? Like, like the Kardashian, like, I don't know, I'm ranting, but I'm like, you fools. You fools. You're a foolish person for buying into this brand, you know? Unless there's something really amazing behind it, then I'd be like, I don't know. And I'm so kind of anti-brand in a way.
Me too.
But I will say yes to an H&M campaign, because I did an H&M campaign like 2 years ago, and it was like a worldwide thing, and I thought it would be good for me. It's about recycling. I can spread a good message. And it will just help me a bit more. But, you know, would I ever wear the clothes? I didn't. I wore their jewellery. So, you know, I got to the set and I was like, the clothes is kind of not right for me, but I can wear the jewellery and I can rock this, you know. And so that's the... But, I love H&M.
I think with the brand thing, I think Instagram plays a big part in this. Social media plays a part in it. And brands like Supreme, Thrasher, and those more street...
They're hideous.
Yeah, and they have queues. I just don't understand
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't like the Louis Vuitton Supreme thing was the most vulgar thing. I'm saying this. It was the most vulgar idea ever. And I'm sorry if you ever see this. If you design that, it's just terrible. It was like all these fashion people, all these... What are they called? These happy cats. I don't know, but unhappy people buying into this crazy idea of something two vulgar things.
Yeah, I know. How does that work? You know what? And you know, it also happens in music when people collab with. If I was to think of like collaborations that shouldn't have happened, too many. Metallica, for one, who did they do this one with? I mean, they always collaborate with things, and I'm always thinking to myself, "Nah, it's not working, dude. Stop doing that. You're Metallica, you know.
Yeah.
Don't
they do like weird, like t-shirt thing? I don't know. Don't they do like weird? They do, yeah. I'm sure it was Metallica.
Actually, that's a good thing.
Weird
like
collaborations.
Go
on.
The use of like rock and roll t-shirts as a fashion item, but people not necessarily knowing the band. How do you feel about that?
I don't.
You don't?
I don't know. It's just like it's. I don't know what the word is. It's just like these kids are trying to look cool, but actually, if you stop trying to be cool, then that's cool.
Exactly.
You know, that's when you start being yourself, and you start looking at what you are, not what the brand is telling you to be. That's cool.
Yeah, isn't it?
You know, and you go, F the brand. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say cunt or fuck,
No,
but
you say what you want.
I'm saying it. But that's that's how I see it.
You and me, we do share a similar ethic where that's concerned, and we also have a mutual respect for the likes of Nicki and Judy Blame, the peoples that take on
great artists, great designers, great people with something behind them. Like, you know, like Judy was amazing. I worked on one of his last campaigns for Illa Mask and Makeup, which was run by Joe Corey at the time, and we used all the Burn Punk London stuff for the last time before it was burnt.
Wow!
And Judy was like, seriously, you're not going to burn all this? And we're like, and he's like, you can't do that. And I'm like, we're going to do it.
So you were contributive to the burning of all the punk stuff. You were part of that.
You'll see. There's a documentary coming out.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
But Joe's a very good friend of mine, and we've I kind of worked on the whole thing with him, and I documented everything before it went up in flames on the Thames, which, we had what we did was dressed up all these like doll things, like as Theresa May and Boris Johnson and David Cameron and being a pig, and Theresa May had an explosive vagina and boobs.
This is killer. This is too much.
Fired a rocket out at the world press, which we told 2 hours before. Like we had to tell everyone 2 hours before where it was, because there were so many people protesting that there was British history being burnt. But the reason it was burnt is so you can. I mean, this is Joe's thing. It's like everyone knows the price of everything and the value of nothing, right? So, fine. But what the value of what? Like old T-shirts and things. Fine. It created a movement. Malcolm McLaren and Vivienne created punk, and punk. It was actually made to sell T-shirts, and then it was like the worst idea ever. You get a band like the Sex Pistols who can't play, and then you put them together. You formate these people that can't make music, and then you get the worst gig, and you don't let the press in, and you have like you plant people to pogo and spit on each other, and then the next time, so it was a fake thing that became real, and it was one of the last things that changed the world.
Such an interesting.
But it was just and he lived. So Malcolm, I don't know if many people know this. He lived with a situationist in Paris, and he went. Do you know the summer of '60? I think it was '68. And do you know those French riots? And so he went to stay with a situationist, and he kind of got all these ideas. They didn't really let him in, I don't think, but he took a lot from them because he was a bit too commercial, I think, and he was studying at Central St. Martin's or somewhere like that. I don't know where. Someone else might know the story, but so he came back and started this movement, which was punk, and it was just like all these fake things which to sell T-shirts. And then all of a sudden it actually became something, and it became a really powerful movement. I don't know, and I don't know where I'm going with this, but to see this stuff before it was burnt was really amazing. I went through each piece, and I put them in order. It was like Seditionary, Sex, Let It Rock, T-shirts, not in that order, but and I put everything, and I saw Vivienne's, because Vivienne made everything. So I saw her work like close up, and I saw how she evolved and added things, and it was just fascinating. And I documented it, so the pictures are online. But I was the last one to kind of play with it, and I just took details. Amazing. So the weird thing was when we did that burn, people really wanted to go and see it, and you're like, okay, yeah. Like they're really like, we want to see this, and I'm like, sure, but that's a bit weird, I think. Weird, yeah. So we had these hardcore fanatics, kind of everyone waiting, and we kind of threw everyone off and said it was somewhere else. And we did it on the Thames. It was only kind of pirate ship on the Thames. It was international waters. The police couldn't board us. The reason we did it on the Thames also is because it was the 40th anniversary of Anarchy in the UK being launched by the Sex Pistols and Malcolm McLaren, who were arrested on the Thames for releasing that. So Joe's idea is like, you arrested my dad and his band for releasing a song which the name couldn't even go into the charts. And all of a sudden the establishment are celebrating it. Yeah. What the hell's going on? And he's like, and I remember he said to me, we'd been somewhere, and he was like, talking about Boris Johnson and the Queen and everyone celebrating 40 years of punk. And he was reading this article, and we were talking about the collection he had. He's like, I'm going to fucking burn it all. And I'm like, you can't do that. Like, don't do it. That's a really bad idea. And he's like, I've got to tell people. So the next day, he released it to the press, and I'm like, oh my God, we've got to go ahead with this. And then, so that was £5 million worth of stuff burnt, right?
Just gone.
But the ashes are worth £6 million in this art stuff that he curated. So he showed at Lazink, Lazink, who Steve Lazaridis and Wissam Al-Mana, they have this Lazink gallery, and he was like Banksy's art dealer. They exhibited the ashes there, and that was selling, and 3 pieces of art, and that was £6 million. So
what? That's insane.
That's the insane thing about the art world, and that's also another suggestion of like that's the world we live in right now.
People wanting a piece of nothing.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. Yeah, the ashes are worth more than the actual artifacts, which is kind of crazy.
The selfie is more important than the moment.
I know, and I was one of the first people to do a proper selfie exhibition at the Tate in 2012, before what's that gallery called? Saatchi, before the Saatchi Gallery. They thought they were like being original, and I was like, I did that in 2012. Like, you know, it's popular.
Yeah,
Strange.
Yeah,
But,
it is, isn't it?
Yeah, really strange.
You when you were looking at Vivienne's sewing work, I mean, there's no bones about it. You're pretty good at doing the whole designing and creating, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? It's like it takes I would imagine with all the other heads that you have to put on, to find that creative space so frequently, to be able to have a new design, a new look, a new shot, going out. I think I remember actually, I went to one of your spaces to pick up some clothes one time.
Right.
And you were getting ready for some show. I think it might have been Pride or something like that.
Right.
And I was in passing watching you get ready.
Right.
It's an operation, man.
It is, yeah, it is. It's kind of like architecture on the body, and everything has to be structured and balanced. And I usually wear long, like Arabic kandoras, which I got made in Dubai for me, and they let the air in. So all I have to do is lean over, and the air kind of comes up, and I'm like, okay, that's great. But everything is kind of constructed, and sometimes it's really uncomfortable. Sometimes it's really heavy, gets hot.
Yeah, like some of the wires and things like that.
And I usually put a bit of padding and things, but but it becomes a construction and it becomes an artwork. So you paint or you sculpt with tools. My body is my canvas, so it's kind of sculpting around my body, painting a portrait in a way of how I want to look that day. And it's mainly done by feeling, color, texture, shape. It's never really a concept.
It's a feeling.
It's a feeling, yeah.
That's amazing. So if you're feeling a bit corduroy-like,
yeah. But it's also very different.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, that never happens. But
yeah, a bit of a crass.
I like these rings.
Example.
See, I'd stick these rings on like this, and I'd be like, well, that can go there. Maybe I can add another one, and and maybe I can add this round here, and I can stick this there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I'm going to steal these now. Quite nice.
Thank you.
So they won't come off.
Funny that.
So that's kind of how it is. But when you design for people, you really have to keep them in mind, and you really have to kind of figure what they're. I can give a tiny bit of me to them, but
you don't want to give it all.
They can't handle it.
Run away.
Like you have a pop star come to you, and they're like, we want this, and I'm like, are you sure? They're like, yeah, and you do it, and they're like, I can't move. Like we made these ski pants for Nicki Minaj, and we made this jacket for her, and we were waiting for the press to come out, and she'd cut the ski pants, and it looked like she was wearing a big nappy, like diapers.
She cut them?
E! Entertainment tweeted, worst use of adult diapers, Nicki Minaj, and we're like, oh my God, she's.
I get where she's coming from, but it just wouldn't look right.
It just looked terrible.
Yeah.
So sometimes you do get people like that kind of saying, we want this, we want to look like that, we want it. And then they go, oh, it's not right, but we need to edit it. And then they just make a really bad a mistake.
But that's the art. Then they're tampering with art, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about someone like Azealia Banks, though? Because you work with her. She's quite an opinionated character. Like, how did that come off?
Do you know what? I don't care. Like, I'm going to say. At first, I stuck up for her and I listened to her reasoning and I was with her and she was like saying stuff and she was like, oh, I said that last week. This is what I think now. And I'm like, oh, Azealia, like. One
of them ones, yeah.
And she was saying things and she was trying to like reappropriate words, which kind of not as well. And I then started to listen to how and I'm like, okay. And at first when she attacked Perez Hilton, I was like, she's kind of right. I like Perez, but he's nice to me all the time, but sometimes. And then she just went a bit too far and I'm like, oh, I can't even go there.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's too much. And it's sad, like someone so talented like her, she's just destroyed everything that she could have had. She's gone another direction. Her music's amazing, and I adored her. Like I absolutely adored. I loved her so much, and I loved spending time with her. And I'd met her on a sofa in Coachella watching the Smurfs, and I was like, hey. And she was like, hey, and I was like, she's really cool. But then she's not actually homophobic because her sister is now is trans, and then I don't know what she is. Maybe she's like boys. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. But everyone around her was gay or trans. So I'm like, she's not hateful in that way, but she was trying to. I don't think she did a good job of explaining herself.
That's the problem, isn't it? Sometimes when musicians take the podium and say things, political or otherwise,
it's hard.
Risky.
It's risky, but it's good when they're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And when they're just doing it out of a rant about something they really haven't thought about, or the consequences of saying that they know is going to hurt people, that I think that's wrong. But I do think that celebrities should always speak out and say what they think. It's kind of important because, as long as they're doing a good thing, but sometimes they're not. So that's another thing.
I've said it before, it's like, I'm an artist, I'm a musician, I beatbox, but this podcast thing is a contributive thing to allow people to have a voice.
Yeah.
Even myself doing it. I believe like a lot of artists should do their own podcasts. They should just do it. Because people want to be able to engage with the person that is making the music, and as long as you've got a positive thing going on, you can't really go wrong, can you? But then there are these people that do have outspoken views, and it's almost like all press is good press. And they kind of go on to do,
It's so crazy.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
But people just tend to just
like
forget.
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I actually I'm still pinching myself every day. Every time I look at my phone, it's like Donald Trump. I'm like, Donald Trump? Really?
Are you kidding me?
Really?
I know, it's unfathomable, isn't it?
I can't even process. I still can't process. I can't process it.
I know.
It's mad.
And you know what? He'll be impeached, or something will happen.
No, he won't. He'll just keep going. No, he'll just keep going. He solved Kim Jong and Putin, and made friends with them. I don't know who's next. Which dictator is gonna? Who's next? But it's just. There was a great when I was in Iceland. There's a great picture of the Icelandic president, because I think she stepped in. Iceland stepped in this summit or something, and there's Theresa May and Boris Johnson there, and she's like. Literally like, oh my gosh, and I thought that just says it all,
Or from a British point of view, from a British government,
yeah. Anyway, whatever.
That whole thing scares me. The whole thing, with your influences being of Bjork, who else have you got that you, particularly music or otherwise? Like who influences you?
I don't know.
You?
Bjork hugely. Yeah. Like she's one of the greatest artists ever, I think.
Hands down, man.
Hugely. And I've got, but I know her, and she's just as inspiring as a person as she is as an artist. Yeah.
Yeah, the fuck out.
But
what's she like? She cool?
She's amazing. I shouldn't say anymore, but
that's amazing.
I was grateful grapefruit to meet her. But she's just a force of like from another. I don't know where she's like. When she's like a piece of special stardust. We're all stardust, but she's like a special piece. It took billions of years to curate Bjork. Yeah. So I think her. But then I love Mariah Carey. I'm obsessed with Mariah, and I got
that a childhood thing from when you was younger.
I think it was. It was like Whitney and Mariah, and that's what I always listened to. And Whitney was my favourite, and Mariah was always kind of second. And Whitney died, and then Mariah kind of started to make more music. Yeah. And then when I had the fashion label, I was at this point where like Vogue had thrown us a party. We did our show in Paris, and I was like, I need to move on. And but I only thought that after I worked with Mariah, and that was so when she came to London and wore that big white coat on the Thames, and she went up. I don't know if you saw that. She was like waving with a big ring on, and so I made that coat for her, and then we made her a black and white version. and I had to go and meet her, and I brought Ellen von Unworth with me, the photographer. We went to Paris, and they actually filmed me for the Mariah Carey TV show.
Stop this.
But
this is mad.
I was edited out, thank goodness. And it was fascinating because all these crazy people around her, but then she's so intelligent and so on it and knew everything. And I was like, whoa, that's why she's at the top.
Wow.
It was amazing.
I've heard this about a lot of particularly female artists.
Yeah.
They remember everyone's name and everything.
She was so genius, and she plays on everything.
Yeah.
Like she plays on how fabulous she, how, the ring follows the camera. It was like the, and I thought, wow, this woman's extraordinary, and she was so nice to me, and she was like, you brought Ellen. We brought Ellen von Unworth to do a shoot backstage, and I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy. Like, this is happening. But she was amazing, like really amazing. And she wore our stuff, and she said she was going to wear it on a cover of a magazine to say thank you. And she did, and she still wears the stuff. She wore it on New Year's Eve when she didn't fail. The white one.
Yeah. I saw that one.
Yeah.
That is the one?
Yeah.
I'm going to check. You need to check that on YouTube, guys. I've seen that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So she keeps wearing it, and wherever she's cold, she's wearing those jackets. So I remember the stylist, it was like her creative director, he was like, she's not going to wear this. And I'm like, I think she'll like it. And he said that on camera, like he was just, and I was like, well, he's like, she's not going to wear this on the tour. And I said, I didn't come to dress her for the tour. I came to make a couture gown for her. And anyway, she used it, and she's still wearing it. So
you're too much for me, bro. You're too much. This is amazing stories. You get to meet the people that, I think we're on the right path when we meet our heroes.
Yeah,
it's almost like
weird.
a salute, isn't it?
All my idols that are alive, I think minus 2 of them I know. And this is the thing about London, like it's a cultural hub of the world. Like, everyone's here. Every artist comes here, from Mozart to everyone's been here, and they've stayed here.
That's true.
And they still do.
I think it's like a magnet. With LA, it's very much like a moth to a flame, isn't it?
Yeah.
The compass kind of point
Yeah.
where the wider entertainment world is. But with London, it really is down to the creativity, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like you almost make it here, manufacture it in America.
And this is, it's kind of, the other thing is London artists are always poor. And when they go to America, they get rich. That's something we need to change in society. We need to start paying artists more than... If you look around, every single thing is man-made, and an artist has designed it, whether it's like a bricklayer or an architect or a designer that's designed the lights on the street. These people need to be paid more, and I think there needs to be an uprising of art people generally on a mass scale, where we go, no way, you pay us what we deserve, and I think artists need to start doing that.
Do you think? And I agree with you.
And I think we need to fire every single manager in the world, and until they've actually kind of started to respect artists. I see so many people screwed over in entertainment, and these horrible managers. Like they're so thirsty, and then. People like, I watched that Avicii thing, and then
that's
like for Amy Winehouse, and like they work their artists to death.
They do indeed, particularly in music. But I'm pretty sure this is the same in fashion and designing, because it is in music. To create a level of unanimous, this has to stop. We want to get paid.
Yeah.
We deserve, and deservedly so. Yeah. It's quite hard to govern that when there's always a younger person that will do anything in his power to take your spot. And if you, because I'm like that too, it's like, I think we've got to stay hungry, but then we've got to kind of get paid at the same time. It's a hard one, isn't it?
It's the thing is, if anyone has any, this is my opinion. Work with the young ones as well. You bring them with you, and then you both work. You can't always do that, but that's what I always did. I gave all these kids jobs, and now they're this person and that person, and
then they become your allies.
And now, then you're allies. Some of them just like leave you behind, or not behind, but they think they go forward, and then you see them a few years later on the street or something, and they're like, "My life's miserable," and I'm like, "Well, I could have helped you out a bit more, but you were very nice." You know, that's how it kind of goes. You know, and I'm sure people will do that to me in like 10 years' time or next week. I don't know. You never know, but. I always try. For me, as an artist, I think I have an artist that's known in a way, not that known, but I'm not known by the mass, the public, but I'm known by the right people in those worlds, like in fashion and art and whatever. And
you definitely have a cult
1%.
Following. You've got a cult following and a half.
It's weird because I've got the 1%, and it's the 99% that everyone else has. So it's kind of strange. It's like it's really strange.
But you have some real diehard fans, though. Like these people.
I've had stalkers as well.
Yeah, man. I
had to move house. I had to change my life.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
I had to change my whole friendship group, circles. I've had 3, and
wow,
seriously, mentally scary, like police involvement and things like that. And
wow, obsessiveness,
obsessed, but they're mentally ill. That's the thing. And then you want to feel sorry for them, and then you actually realize the minute you start feeling sorry for them, you're feeding them more. So you just think fuck them, you know. And then you wish all sorts of things, and then you feel guilty about it. But someone's trying to destroy your life with their obsession. You know, maybe you're right thinking these things. I don't know. Wish they just disappear.
You had a stint doing catwalk and whatnot as well, didn't you? You were very much the high profile.
I was
catwalk figure, weren't you?
I was a model when I was 17 for like 5 years, on and off. Struggled massively with my first job was like Lemo Vogue, and then I did all these campaigns and things, and but then I had bulimia, which is another thing, and it's something that I'm really open to talking about because I'm not, you know.
Yeah, sure.
And it's kind of. It was a really hard time. I was bulimic before I was a model, so that was like even worse.
Because then you added on the fact,
and then the pressure, and I ended up living on Diet Coke and tomatoes, trying to not be bulimic, you know. But that really messed me up as well.
Of course,
I was just so skinny, and I could literally put I've got a huge weight. I could put my hands around my waist. That's how small I was. And and then my agency were like, you need to put weight on. And so I go and put some weight on. And then they were like, if you put too much on. And I was like, literally. And I was like, I can't do this anymore, you know. And as a model, people think it's a really prestigious job and the lifestyle's amazing. And you get to, you know, I was thrown into this world of, you know, 17. First of all, Soho, gay nightlife, whatever, seeing all this stuff going on
and popping,
there's Alexander McQueen, there's all these people, there's, you know, Pete Burns, there's Boy George, and then you see the fashion scene, there's Naomi Campbell, and there's Pat McGrath, and there's, you know, all these, who's now Edward Enninful, and all these, you know, we were hanging out with all these, and it was like we were the centre of what was going on. And then the world started to collide, and it got really intense at times, and then the pressure as a model, you kind of lose your mind, and it
becomes a bit of a blur.
People think it's so amazing, and it is in a way. You know, there's Anna Nicole Smith on my arm, like kind of shaking her hair at me, looking at her, going, "I want to look like that if I ever do drag." Like this is a moment. Take this in, never forget this. And I remember this moment, and she was so sweet. She was like an amazing woman. Like, she wasn't very well, but she was lovely. And I thought this image of her on my arm, just shaking her hair and her boobs and dancing. And I think there was a Gloria Gaynor song on Honeybee, and I always remember that song, like, I'm a honeybee, you know. And every time I think of that, I think of her like shaking her hair. Anyway,
Daniel, this is crazy. This is too much for me.
But it's just the lifestyle's great, but then you go to a casting job and there's like 50 male models there, and you're at a Versace thing, and if you're not Versace's flavour of the month,
you're meat. Yeah.
Like all the boys go past, they're big guys, and you're like, oh, there's no point standing in this queue for like 3 hours,
Yeah, yeah.
I remember like Will Chalker used to go past, and like this guy used to, and then we're like, okay, well,
Yeah.
And then you get to the front of the queue, it's like, yes, no, and then you like, you walk like this, you're too fat, you're too thin, you look like a girl, you look like a boy, and
You're
like,
constantly
what
battling.
the fuck is
Yeah.
going on, So
Yeah.
that's is not. And also that whole #MeToo thing, we thought it was normal. We really thought it wasn't like I was sleeping with people to get to the top. That was never on my agenda. But it was like, I'm in this situation. What do? I don't really want to be in this. This person's going too far. Like, how do I deal? Like,
Yeah, what am I to do?
and then they get you drunk, and then you get, and I was in situations where it was happening all around me. Like, in my book, when everyone's dead, I'll write everything because it could ruin some careers of people which shouldn't really be working at these high-ranking jobs.
Oh,
but,
for real? Wow.
But it's not for me to say what they did to other people. It's for the other people to say what happened.
Because until they voice things,
Exactly.
it really isn't any...
Yeah. But I know what happened to me, and I really was kind of abused in a way, like by different casting directors, photographers, stylists.
Wow.
There was like 3 in particular that were,
Oh,
really bad. And I see them around in Paris, at the shows, and I'm like, hi, and now I look very different. Yeah. So they're kind of terrified of this, and I'm like,
Yeah, all of a
hello.
sudden the tables have turned.
And they're just
now.
like, it's like, I just feel like, because I wear a lot of claws, I just feel like going, and I've always felt like that, and all this #MeToo stuff came out, and I was like, should I really talk? Should I say something? Should I? And I'm like, it's not for me to say. I mean, I'm talking about it now, and I spoke about it to. I never spoke about it before. I spoke to Glamour Iceland about it, and then I thought about it a bit more, and I was like, I should just maybe say something, but we thought it was normal. And then your agency, you go, oh, I don't want to go there again. Oh, you have to go. Like, the model agents had also a part to play in with me. I was like, I don't want to do that shoot. I don't want to go there. And they're like,
Are they aware? Were they aware?
Yeah,
that
they were
this was
aware.
going down?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And I know some older people from the industry, and they were like, it's part of the job, and they're still saying that. Like,
What?
This is what we had to do to get these jobs. It was the casting couch, the Hollywood casting couch, but in the modelling world as well. So it was.
It's riddled, isn't it? It's disgusting.
Yeah. And
It's
I did have loads of people come on to me over the years, but I just thought, one of them in particular was like my idol, and I wanted to go into the bathroom with him, but I didn't do it. I was like 17, and I did a music video, and I won't say who it was, but and he became my friend later. But I was like, what do I do? Should I go in there with him? And like, I'm gonna have. Oh my God, it's like my idol. It's like growing up listening to his music. And anyway, whatever.
madness.
So madness.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What a life. What a life. I mean, yeah, it comes with the territory. No, it doesn't. Do you know what I mean? It's like it shouldn't.
No, it shouldn't.
No.
No.
And it's a very comparable place where you want to be successful. And again, it just goes back to the kind of younger person's way of thinking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Get where you can, climb where
From
you've
a
got to
small
climb.
village in the middle of nowhere, thrown into this crazy industry, and you're like, I don't even know where I am. Like, whose house am I in? Am I? They could be like the biggest thing in the world, but you don't know because you're just young and naive, and you haven't lived and you haven't seen things, and
you're in a situation where these things, like these hard to reach things, become real opportunities, and you meet your idols. And the next thing you're walking alongside someone you would have never thought in your wildest dreams.
Yeah, and it's all there. Yeah, and then if you say something about one of them, they all go, "Oh, we don't want to talk to him."
Yeah,
that's
one
another
little thing
That's
can be
another clicky thing. I was kind of. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't want to talk about that.
I get it. But you've got this exhibition going around the world.
Yes.
And that's popping off, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just been in Reykjavik. Before that, it was at Miami Art Basel. Before that, it was in Atlanta at the Savannah College of Art and Design. and now it's going to Naples in next June, actually. So it's in a while.
You've been there before?
Yes.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, but my friend was ill there, and she got put into the hospital, and it was like one flew over the cuckoo's nest.
Oh,
like,
no.
It was really crazy. They were like threatening her, and in the end, she was like, "Sweetheart, get a private jet." So got the private jet, took her out of the hospital. All these Italian doctors were like, "You can't take her away," and she's like, so
No way. That just sounds horrific.
Managed to get her on the jet, and we got to London, and she was fine. But
I just mentally picture these zombie hands. You can't take her away.
it was really I just can't even explain how crazy it was. But I love Naples.
Lots of cats there.
Yeah. I was in Capri, so I was only in Naples for 2 days.
Okay. Yeah. I love the landscapes. The houses are so shanty.
Yeah.
Crazy, built on top of each other. So it's going to be all around the world.
Yeah, it's going to travel. I'm talking to different places. At
Good.
The minute. But yeah. I can't. The book is nearly sold out, which was great. When I did this exhibition, they said, "Do you want to do a book?" And I said, "Who with?" And it was my favourite publishers, Rizzoli. And I said, "Okay, yes." And we shot the book in a week. With the Savannah College of Art and Design and this guy called Colin Douglas Gray, and then the curator, his name is Rafael Gomez, and he used to work at Vivienne Westwood. So how the whole thing happened was I was at this point in my life where I'd finished the fashion label. I was thrown out on the street. I had to live on my studio floor. My friend said, "Come and live in my house and stay there for as long as you need." And he went away for a few days, and I called my mum and I said, "You're not going to hear from me for a few days. Don't worry if you don't hear from me." Mm-hmm. She worries if she doesn't hear from me. Of course. So, because my life's just mad. You never know what's going to happen.
You get these beacons of news coming from Instagram. Yeah. My mum's just got on the Instagram thing because I just don't speak to her enough. So now she's always, an anonymity, but she's still there.
Commenting.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, my mum's
Cry, mama.
So I turn the internet off, turn my phone off, turn everything off, and I'm like, who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? Do I want to live anymore? Do I want to be this? Do I want to go forward? Have I done something? I don't know. Like, have I actually done anything? And I'm like, I've done a few things, and this is how I should pursue. I should not give up my dream. So I wrote these ideas. One was perfume. I've been studying perfume. That's kind of what I'm working on at the minute. But so there was that, and then I thought, well, I've got all these clothes. I have to move storage. I have no money. What am I going to do with them? And I came up with doing this because what I do is wear armor. So I thought terracotta warriors, army. I need to make an army of me. Like, they're my protectors.
So fucking cool.
And so it happened. And I went to a Vivienne Westwood party, and Rafael Gomez, who's the curator, he said, send me the idea. And I'm like, party talk. Nothing ever comes from party talk, ever. I had some party talk 2 nights ago, and I was like, oh my God, whatever. So I sent him the thing, and I'd just done this H&M thing, and the college said yes. And so I sent 4,000 pieces of my wardrobe to Atlanta.
4,000?
Yeah, my mum and dad helped me, and it was like this really amazing thing. The curator came over, and then I brought an additional 2,000 pieces. So, but pieces like this and this and this and this, and this, and this, but lots of them. So I created 30. There's now 38 because I made more for Reykjavik. I'm going to make more for each country I go to, but with what I'm wearing between the exhibitions. So the longer the space, there'll be more of them. And then, so I created this thing, and I worked with colour, texture, shape. So I created these 3D tapestries of my life, either things that I'd worn exactly the same or worn at different times in the same look, And that's and then all of a sudden this army was there, and it kind of got picked up by Vogue and CNN, and I got an email from Vogue saying it was one of the top things on their website for a long time, and I was like, oh, wow, like people have been waiting for me to do my own thing because I've been working with so many different people.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot of collaborations. That must have just been so rewarding. Like,
it was, because I was ready to give up everything. I was ready just at that point. Where you're like, what's the point?
There was a moment, and I remember it on Instagram. Where you were really cleaning out your
miserable.
closet. Yeah, you really cleaned out your closet for a second.
yeah.
You could tell something was kindling and you were stepping away to come back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I definitely sensed that.
Yeah.
And it's,
I kind of wear my emotions on my sleeve, like, like I have to tell people how I feel, even if it's good or bad. If I'm going to offend someone, I have to tell them. And usually I let it out, and people are like, you say too much, and I'm like, well, what am I going to do?
Yeah. I also think
I hardly say anything compared to what I could.
Yeah, I know, exactly. But I think when you're so prolific as an artist, which you are, you kind of need to have the public, the voice to back it up. You know what I mean? Because only these can only say so much. But you got loads of stuff. Like, you've got to be strong and say what you think. You know what I mean? That's what helps sell it all, doesn't it?
Well, I never sold my work, and I've always been a poor artist. But I kind of preferred that. But recently, I've been going to all these art fairs and looking at things going, oh my God, these people, like, this is crazy art world. And that's where I'm going. Like, that's the forward is commercial art. That's what I want to make. I want to make really amazing art, but start selling my work. And I've started to curate this whole world, which is that I'm about to go into. And I've figured out. But then I have one friend, his name is Bradley Theodore, this artist that, he was selling his work for 12,000. Now it's 78,000.
Damn.
And he sits there with a calculator and he's like, Daniel, look, and I'm like, I've never thought about money in my life. And this man has just made me realize it's really important. And for my advice to every artist out there, stop saying that you don't care about money, care about it, because you can make more art.
Yeah.
You can make a difference. And if you've got a good message behind your art and you can make people feel, you should make them feel a bit more, by extending
your reach.
You need money to make more art, and it obviously it makes sense. But some artists are like, I remember going up to a graffiti artist and I'm like, well, I'll pay you to do this. And he was like, no. Like, I said, why? He said, because you were going to pay me. I do this out of love. And I'm like, you can do more out of love if you let me.
Give you some money, make use of.
Anyway,
very wise words. Very wise words.
Get paid.
Get paid. Get paid, motherfuckers.
Get paid.
And pay, motherfuckers.
Yeah, and pay.
Look, I'm going to love you and leave you because I know you've got a busy day ahead.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise from wherever you are. Create Starburst. Daniel, Lismore.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, brother. Stay lucky, Killa Kela podcast. You know what to do. Peace.